Hi, Karen. Happy Monday. It is so wonderful to start the week seeing your beautiful face.
Katie, same. Happy Monday, happy fall, happy October, all of the things. So happy to be starting this season with you.
I love it. Yes. Happy fall. It is officially fall. I mean, when we're recording this, really, because wasn't
Oh,
the
yeah.
first day of fall the 22nd? Is that right?
The 22nd or the 23rd. I think it was the 23rd because I was in the mall at Bath and Body Works and they had a 40% off sale because it was the first day of fall.
Nice. That's amazing. That is amazing. I mean, yeah, and this will come out on what is it? October 2nd, I
Second.
think, which is wild. Yeah, it is fall. I'm not as resistant as I was. I think I'm just like giving it up to be like, oh yeah, that's right. I live on a planet that has seasons and I live in a place that has seasons and I'm just gonna be okay with it. How are you doing emotionally with the changing of the seasons?
Not awesome.
Okay,
It
I'm not either.
does
Yeah.
help. It does help though that I mean it's still warm outside, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know what the weather in Bend is like. I don't know the weather where you are right now but like yeah, it's still warm here. It's still sunny. That yes, the sun goes down earlier, but like it hasn't really started to feel like fall. I feel like there've been a couple crisp mornings, but I feel like when it really will hit me when it's just like, oh, it's not warmer than like 65 outside. Like that sucks.
Totally. Oh, I love that for you for indie though. Like it seems like it's going to be such a nicer ease into a cooler season because you're like south of Chicago. That's nice.
Yes, I am hoping it is more that it is a milder winter. Everyone here says it's milder, but like they've never lived in Chicago, right? Like it's easy to say like,
Fair.
"Oh my God, this is so much better than this place I've never been to." Okay, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for your frame of reference, which is zero. But yes. Yes, so Bend before I left was getting a little chilly in the mornings. It was like, 50s and then it would get up to mid 80s, which is makes me very happy to be in the mid 80s at all. So I'm hoping it's still like that and I hope it stays like that through October. But right now I am in New York City and sitting in my hotel room and thank you for being so understanding that I woke up 16 seconds before our call because I yet again am plagued with jet lag, which is a podcast for another day. But basically, yeah. So the weather here actually was beautiful the first day that I was here, and my dad and Betty were here with Tyler, and now they all have gone home, and I'm staying for a bit. But yeah, then after day one, Karen, apparently there is it's present tense a tropical storm Ophelia here.
Stop it. No.
And I was like, oh, it's raining. That's kind of cool because like I live in a desert. So like fun. Yay, rain. Oh no, no, no. We're talking like sideways. Like there is no one on the road. Like Tyler and I yesterday, we were walking around and we walked for quite a while. We walked on something called the High Line, which is like this beautiful
Oh yeah.
park that's like above, the ground. And anyway, we walked on it and we were just like, fuck it, we're doing it. Like it doesn't matter how bad it is. And so like we're walking for a solid couple of miles because we went back and forth. And it was torrential. Like there were many
Wow.
points where like we couldn't see anything. My dad had given us an umbrella. We were under the umbrella, but like then I had like ducked into a Warby Parker eyeglass store because I need some new glasses because listeners, I know you can't see them, but the ones that I'm wearing for you, Karen, are very old and not in style anymore. I need cool ones like yours. But anyway, and I ducked in and took off my rain jacket. Turns out it wasn't a rain jacket.
Oh
I
no.
was soaked through, Karen. Like I
Oh,
I mean and I was like, why am I a little cold? And then I took off my rain jacket. Turns out it's a windbreaker. I got it at a consignment store, okay? Like it's a Patagonia. Who needs a windbreaker? Really? Like it's
right.
I mean, windbreakers, maybe that's another podcast episode. Are they necessary? Mm. I have some opinions. Like I'm like, why? I thought it looks like and Tyler is just like dying. Like, I mean, no, not really. Like he was like, I'm so sorry. And after he realized that I was fine, he started laughing and he's like, we need to get a real like, waterproof
Correct.
rain jacket, clearly. Um
Wow.
no, yeah, so the only thing I have is a it's a very penetratable windbreaker that I'm walking around in a tropical storm. So anyway, long story longer, it's been a situation with the weather here, but whatever, it's fine. It's supposed to be Ophelia's still here today, which is Monday. Tomorrow it's supposed to
Oh
be nice
God.
and sunny. So yay. Only one day
Okay.
of looking like a drowned rat. So we're all good.
Oh my God. Tropical storm. What in the world? See, these are things that as Midwesterners, we're just like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, totally. And then it was like it was apparently like a hurricane Ophelia, but then it turned into a tropical storm north of like North Carolina, I guess. And then it was like, oh, it's going to turn into a tropical depression, which is apparently lower than a storm. But then after the depression, it becomes a post-depression cyclone. I've done a lot of like deep dives into Google. And so like on Saturday or on Sunday, no, Saturday night, sorry, Saturday night when it was really, really stormy, it was, the news was like, oh, it's going to turn into a depression. I'm like, awesome. So I'm like standing in the driving rain yesterday, which is Sunday, thinking, is this a depression? This seems like a storm. And then Tyler was like, this is definitely a cyclone. I'm like, no, it's not. We cannot talk like we're meteorologists. We know jack shit. Anyway, it's just rainy. That's it. The end. Thank you
Wow.
for listening to my TED Talk about rain.
I hope it is sunny tomorrow. I hope you get some more sunny days before you go home. I'm very excited for you to be in New York. Oh my God, I can't talk because it's too early.
I know it's so early. It is. I'm so excited to be in New York too. And like I am leaving in a couple minutes after our conversation to go to this apartment that I'm going to be staying in for a week in the West Village, which I'm excited about. And then after that, the next time I talk to you, Karen, I will be in Princeton, New Jersey, still on the East Coast, very much acclimated with no jet lag, I hope. And I will be there until a week from Thursday. I'm here for like another week and a half.
Oh my God.
I know, right? I'm
Wow.
really just kind of like, why not? I'm here. I guess I live here. I have a friend who's in Princeton. I'm like, what the hell? It seems a little long, gotta be honest, but maybe maybe I won't feel that way when there isn't a tropical storm cyclone depression outside. But we'll
Yes,
see.
exactly.
We will see. Anywho, okay, so to your like seamless non-segue to your topic today, please. Yes, take it away.
Yes. All right. So, listeners, Katie and I are usually not on the same time zone, right? Like I'm on the, in fact, we're as far away as we can be and still be in the same country, basically, except for Hawaii
Basically.
or Alaska. But you know what I mean? Continental US. But now we are in the same time zone and we are recording in the morning, which we never do. And I was realizing, I was like, oh my God, is Katie a morning person and I just didn't know? Is
That's
this
so
the
funny.
thing? Oh my God, because I am not.
No, 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 no. Also, no. Anyway, continue, please.
So it got me thinking about what does it mean to be a morning person? What does it mean to not? What does it mean to not be a morning person, but be forced to start my day at the time that other people start their days? Like, I feel like right when there was this period of time when I worked for myself and I tried to start my day when it felt right for me, which is great, but I was broke. So, right, like, I mean, if you have a 9 to 5, it's called a 9 to 5 for a reason. Anyway, it just set me down this
Yes.
rabbit hole of thinking about like, if you could, if you could shape your day around your own body clock and your own circadian rhythms, what would it look like? And what does it look like when you can't do that?
Yes. I love this topic so much, Karen. Thank you. Okay, so I have a lot to say about this, and I would also love to hear it from you first, if you don't mind. I would love to. So, do you feel? You said you don't feel like a morning person. So, what does your morning look like, and how does this all shape out for you in this moment with this life that you're living?
I see. Yes. Okay. So I would love to hear from other people too
Yeah.
in the comments of something about like what y'all do or just text me because right now I wake up, my phone unfortunately is right next to me. I grab it and I immediately log into work.
Yeah.
And then I get ready and then I start working again. And sometimes I start working immediately. And like we set the coffee to start, like we get our coffee set up before we go to bed. And so when we wake up in the morning, it's just done. And so I don't even have like a ritual around like, oh, I get up and I make my coffee and, or I don't have coffee, I drink tea and I do yoga and I do morning pages and I do all these things. No, no, no. I like immediately hit the ground running. And like sometimes I try to be intentional while I'm getting ready about like, this is time just for me. And it is self-care to brush my teeth and like all of these things. Like I try to make myself think like, no, no, I am taking time for me. I'm showering. But I know that it's like not, that's like not a
Yeah, totally. I mean, I love the setting yourself up like with the coffee maker and everything. Like you really are like you're creating. I mean, I guess that can be reframed as self-care where it's like the coffee is ready when you wake up. That is amazing. But then it's also like I'm sure you're wanting to have a little bit more of a buffer between the time where you get up. Like, do you usually get up at like, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., or do you usually have or 8? Like, what time do you usually get up?
it varies. I'm never up at 6.
Yeah,
Very rarely at 7.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's post 7.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like it's just so odd because I used to have a job where I had to be at the office downtown in downtown Chicago at 8:30 in the morning. Or was it 8? I think I had to be in at 8 and I lived far from downtown. So I just
Wow.
think about like how painful that experience is of having to be at work
Oh,
so early.
it's so rough. It's so rough. Yeah. And then like because you're not a morning person, do you feel like you're an evening person or do you feel like I don't know if there's always like a causal thing there. I don't think all morning if you're not a morning person, you guaranteed are an evening person
Yes.
also.
Right? I feel like I used to feel like a night owl, but now I'm old and go to bed early. Am I just not a person? If you're not a morning person and you're not a night owl, are you just like nothing? Are you just a slug? Is that what the
Oh
other
my
option
God, Karen. Okay, okay, I'm gonna jump in. So
is?
no, you're not a slug. No, yes, you are a person, a wonderful person. No, okay. So I also am not a morning person or an evening person. I'm not. I'm really just not. Like, okay, so here it is. I can turn it on. Like I can turn it on in either way, I guess you could say, if I have to. So like if I have a flight or if I have, I mean, I'm not like chipper as hell if I have to wake up at 4 a.m., but like my body knows, okay, it's like a programming an alarm clock. It's like I always wake up like this morning actually. Tyler had to leave this morning at 4:30 in the morning. His, alarm was at 4:20. I woke up at 4:18 just on my own and I was like, how does that happen? And so I will say for me, it's very similar to you to wanting to allow your body to tell you what it wants. So I have been also in situations where I have to be somewhere and I mean, I've been working for myself for a long time but then I've had clients that like monopolize my time, like that is, I mean, like willfully, allow them to be my anchor client or whatever it is. And so, like, I remember when I was living in Sausalito, I would, Tyler had to be on the bus very early to go into San Francisco. And I was like, you know what? I want to wake up at the same time. Like, this will make my day great. So, Karen, I used to go to spin class at 5 a.m., 5 a.m. at the gym. So, we would have to drive 11 minutes to the gym. Then the spin class would end at 6. I would come home. And for a brief period, I say like a few months, I felt like a superhero. I really did. I think I also was drinking, deep or like caffeinated coffee at that time, like real coffee. But anyway, I remember like waking up and be like, wow, at 7 a.m., I have accomplished so much. Like, this is amazing. And then I would go into my co working space, the Hybrid. It was great. That didn't last very long because I think that's not what my body actually wants. Fast forward to now, and I have a desk job, but my desk job is 25 hours a week. And so I'm very, very fortunate to kind of be able to. I, I mean, I have freelance work also, but like I can like adjust that to my time. So I am very fortunate to almost never have a meeting before 10 a.m. And so I just pretend I don't work until 10 a.m. So like that's my new thing. So it doesn't always work, of course, because sometimes I have other stuff I have to do. But right now, I would say that on a normal day, I am like going to bed, sleeping. I'm falling asleep at 11, which means that I have gone up to bed at like 9:15 because it takes me that long to calm down and not look at screens, but I do look at my, like my British fashion influencers on YouTube, be honest. Like I still do that. So that is looking at a screen. But anyway, I fall asleep at 11. I wake up at 8, which is 9 hours of sleep. And I'm realizing that like I actually really need that. Like for me to feel really good. And sometimes I still have a dip in the afternoon, but like I'll wake up on my best days. I will immediately pick up my phone, which is in the other room. I try not to sleep with my phone next to me. I'll do a meditation with Tamara Levitt from Calm, and then I will journal for like a minute. I don't write like a whole, dissertation in my journal, but like I definitely will journal. And then I'll come downstairs, have breakfast, work out, and then I'm ready for my 10 a.m. meeting. I'm sprinting, honestly, because that takes a
Mhm.
while. So that is like my dream morning, and that is what's happening right now. But I will say that that's not normal for me all the time. Like there's definitely like just life gets in the way. But the thing is that it becomes like the fact that I am not a night owl actually is somewhat of an issue, Karen, when I have visitors, because people will come from the East Coast and they'll be like, okay, like let's play a game or let's do whatever. And Tyler and I will be like, oh, it's 8:45. Like we like legit, not even kidding. Like we're so tired because Tyler gets up way earlier than me. And so I honestly I've had so many people come over and be like, oh, so you go to bed, now, you're going to bed. And I'm like, you can watch TV if you want. Like, so am I not a person either? Like, I'm like, I have to have so much like relaxation time because when I'm up, like if it's 8 a.m., like I'm going until 8 p.m., which is only 12 hours. I realize, uh, yeah, this is kind of embarrassing to say. I'm just not, but I mean, then again, this past weekend, my dad and Betty were in town with me and Tyler, and we went to some Broadway shows. And I mean, those Broadway shows go until 11 p.m. That's just what they do. And so, like, then we're walking home at 11:30 at night, and I realized that I can turn it on for that. But one of the Broadway shows, Karen, I spent so much money on those tickets, and I cringe to tell you this, but I think I slept for like 15 minutes of the show.
I'm sorry to laugh.
I really did.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I mean that's like $75 down the drain in that 15 minutes.
I mean, if it doesn't hold your attention, it doesn't hold your attention.
Yeah, or my body's just like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this?
Honestly.
So, yeah, but of course, like, all of those things that say, like, don't be on screens for 2 hours before you go to bed. Don't be on screens right when you wake up. It's so hard. Like, it's so hard to do that. Like, I mean, is anyone really doing that? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like it is really hard, and the discipline required is not something I have right now. I will say MLB has a like really set evening routine that
Really?
I envy. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna cough again. Hold
No problem. Cough break.
on. Ooh, cough
And we're
break.
back.
And we're back. Oh, and hello, everyone.
Hello.
So MLB takes a shower every night, listens to a book in the shower, like has these cool waterproof headphones.
Oh, what? Wow, that's
Yes,
cool.
they're Shocks brand.
Mm,
And they just like wrap around. And I just gestured around your head like you could
yes,
see me,
yes.
listeners. So like listens to a book or listens to a meditation or like I don't think listens to music a lot, but like uses that time to like really wind down. And it's like this like very intentional like part of this routine. And I feel like the shower really resets them to like get into sleep mode. And I always am
Ooh.
so jealous that they have, like I said, the discipline to do it and that they have the like, I know this will make me feel better. I know this is part of my sleep routine. I'm going to do it. Because sometimes I lay there and I'm like, I mean, I brushed my teeth this morning.
Do I want to be an overachiever? Do I really need to brush twice?
In a
Seriously.
day.
In a day. No, haven't eaten anything with a poppy seed in it. So, is this necessary? No.
Yeah, I maybe this conversation will motivate me to yes, like have a better, because it's interesting because when I mentioned to you before we hit record talking about mornings and being a morning person and morning routines, of course your response was and evening routines. And it's so true. Like one influences the other. And
Totally.
that I hadn't thought of it that way.
Totally. I know it really does for me. And then it's also like, I think I read something recently about how, because I struggle with sleep sometimes, and unless I'm like in a like the planets are aligned and like all of the things, then I'm like, oh my God, I had such a great sleep. What happened? And then I realize, oh, I had a great sleep because I didn't have pizza at, like 7 p.m. before I went upstairs an hour later, and, like I didn't have wine or whatever. But I read something recently where like, something about like research around writing down all like good things like in your journal before you go to bed, like really positive things, like gratitude or whatever it is, and like just like feelings of warmth and happiness, and like and I and then that can actually set the tone for what you might dream about or what you might feel. And then in the morning, so I tried this one day, worked like a fucking charm, Karen. Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. I wrote down like that I was grateful for X, Y, and Z, and that I felt really positive about whatever. And then I slept great. I didn't have any weird dreams. And then the next morning I was like, oh, I'm not angry. Sometimes I wake up angry. That's fun. I mean, I don't like, I'm like, what can I be mad about now? Like, let's focus on that. And like, so hence the meditation and the journaling in the morning, but sometimes it doesn't actually always work. But yeah, it's interesting. I also wonder what Ariana Huffington would say about this, because have you heard about like I mean, she famously she wrote a book about sleep, but only after she had a very serious incident. Apparently, I don't know all the details, but this was several years ago. I mean, maybe like, gosh, it could have been 10 years ago. But so for those of you who don't know who Ariana Huffington is, she is the founder of the Huffington Post. She was running 100 miles an hour every single day for years and years. And one day she just collapsed. And so when she collapsed, it was like she was diagnosed with chronic fatigue, I think. And then she realized that she had no sleep hygiene. And she has now like been on this crusade. I think she even started a nonprofit about it, around like sleep hygiene. And so it's just, I know that's kind of like, kind of segueing into like yet another topic, which I do think might be interesting for another episode someday. But I wonder what her morning and evening routines are.
Yes, to ensure that she gets enough sleep. I feel like we maybe talked about this on a sleep episode. I feel like we talked about sleep
Maybe we
early
did.
on
Oh, yeah.
because all of us had really fucked up COVID sleep, weird
Oh,
COVID dreams.
yes.
Like, I feel like everybody, it was this phenomenon of like weird sleep. So I feel like really early on, we talked about sleep and we talked about Ariana Huffington. Like, I feel like it was like one of those things, like she like fell asleep at her desk and hit her head or something. It's like
Yeah,
very,
it's
something
a
very
very
dramatic,
dramatic.
like
Yeah.
sleep deprivation related. And like that
Yes.
sleep deprivation is like the same as driving drunk. It's the same as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day or however many. Like it's really dangerous to be
Yes.
sleep deprived, especially chronically sleep deprived.
Totally, totally. Oh my gosh, thank you for reminding me, Karen. I had completely forgotten. That's probably like under 50 of our episodes, like 1 to 50 type of episode. Like, yeah, I mean, that makes so much sense that the COVID would have been bad for everyone's sleep because it was so stressful, and like the whole timing and all of it. I mean, not that we're not living in a stressful time as well now, but yeah, I mean, it's just interesting, like the morning and evening routines though, like I don't know. I wish I could like give someone a prescription. It's so personal though, because like I mean, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that you have your phone next to you if you need your phone next to you, like when you're waking up. And then when you wake up, like if you have your alarm on it, it's just, then I think, well, I've thought about like not having my phone next to me, which I do try to put it in the other room, but like sometimes I have to have it because of whatever reason that I think of that night. And then I'm like, well, maybe I should get like an analog, like tick, 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 like the alarm clock. And like maybe that would be helpful. And yeah, it's hard. We're so attached. It's a,
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
third arm.
Yes. And I think don't really get taught about how to wind down, especially how to wind down as adults with all of this technology. Like I think about as
Yes.
children, right? As pre cell phone, pre all of this technology, pre, Apple watches, like all this nonsense, right? Like, yeah, it was really easy so much easier, I think, to go to bed.
It's so true. It's so true. Like I remember my parents probably saying like, "Okay, it's time to calm down now, Katie. Like we're not going to be running around the house like a banshee. Like we're going to be like sitting and relaxing." And like to have that, like I need someone to tell me that, "Okay, Katie, it's time to wind down again." Like I find that with Lucy. Lucy gets really really anxious at night, and like she has to go out to pee like 17 times between the hours of like 6 and 9 p.m. And I'm like, dude, you don't actually have to pee. You didn't pee. You just want to come in and have treats. Anyway, but like then I'll like put her in her bed and I'll literally tell her, I'm like, Lucy, it's time to calm down now. And she'll be like, oh, and like she hears me. And like, I think that's like her cue. So maybe I need someone like in an intercom system in my house, like, like the voice of Oz. Creepy,
Oh my
but
God.
maybe not.
Lucy, by the way, is Katie's beagle.
Yes, I'm sorry. That's right, everyone. Yeah, after all of this talk about not having kids and oh yeah, I don't have a uterus. Yeah, it's not a child. Yes. Lucy is my 15-year-old beagle who I treat like a child. So yeah.
In case
Thank
you're
you,
just
Karen.
tuning in case this is your first episode.
Yes. Thank you for that distinction, Karen. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's funny because Emily, and I know we have to go, Emily used to have Alexa tell her kids to wind down.
Ooh.
It's time to, like, I forget it, but she had Alexa set at like a certain amount of time to be like, okay, it's time to go brush your teeth. It's time to go, like, had Alexa say it. I was like,
That's
well,
beautiful.
Alexa said it.
Ooh, that's really good. I mean, adults can do that too. I
It's
don't have an
true.
Alexa. Do you and MLB have an Alexa?
We have Google Home. I don't, which, I mean, she's not as good as Alexa.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you don't look very, very excited about Google Home.
I have a lot of feelings about her. And I specifically moved away from Alexa, but I feel like Alexa had a lot more utility, had a lot more personality, if you will.
Got it.
Yeah, which is
I
scary to say out loud, but it's true.
It's so real though. I don't know anything about like using Siri or Alexa or anything. I never do it. And the other day, like talking about attitude, like I told Tyler I always talk bad about Siri because I'm like, this is just so dumb. Like I don't know when I'm gonna use this. This is so over like confusing. It's not dumb for people who love Siri, great. But like my Siri hates me, Karen. The other day I like went Tyler's like, okay, talk to Siri. I swear to God, I'm gonna like say something and my phone's gonna go off. But like, I was just like, yeah, okay, Siri, like, what answer? Like, I said something kind of accusatory, and she's like, like she literally,
Oh my
she was,
God.
no, seriously. I was like, hey, how are you? And she was like, and like she like, I swear, she had an actual attitude.
Oh my God.
Tyler seriously fell on the floor laughing. He was like, watch when I talk to my Siri, and he's like, hey Siri, and she's like, hello, how are you? And I was like, well, okay.
Wow.
Anyway, those robots can learn that you hate them and then they get mad at you. Apparently, I don't know. I know nothing about this stuff. So, yeah.
Really quickly before we go, because the story cracks me up. I was out with my friend Dan. We were consultants together. We were driving around Fort Worth, Texas on a project. We just had dinner. We could see our hotel, but we couldn't get to it. We were in this hellscape of highways.
Oh,
And so Siri was not being helpful. And Dan, so lovely man, was like, Siri, you dumb bitch. Why aren't you working? And she said, I shit you not. I'm doing the best I can, Dan.
that's amazing.
And I just died. I was like, I mean, you can't. What are you going to say?
I mean, yeah, I guess she is doing the best she can. And also, good comeback, Siri. And also, seriously, like, yeah, these robots. I mean, yeah, teaching us how to communicate, apparently. That's amazing. Oh my God. Okay. I know we could talk forever. I know we're already over, but Karen, thank you for bringing up this topic. And I'm going to be thinking about it. Like, what kind of morning routines do I want? What kind of evening routines do I want? Like, now that I'm here in New York and alone, like, I don't have Tyler to like think about. Like, he's so good. He's kind of like MLB, where he like, winds down, he reads, he doesn't look at his phone that much at night. Like, he like, and it's just like, okay, well, now that I'm in New York for a week by myself, I'm like, well, how many shows can I see in one night? I'm like, I'm going, right? Like, I'm like, I have the Comedy Cellar right down the street from this apartment that I'm gonna get. I'm like, I have a bunch of like, I was like, oh, I can go. Oh, yesterday we went to see where my apartment is, and literally you can see from my apartment window this chocolate chip cookie place, Karen. It's called Chip City, and we looked at it. We walked in. And these cookies look like pieces of cake. They're enormous. They were delicious. And we're sitting there, and I was like, this is so good. And right as we're sitting there, this group of people comes in, and it's a food tour. And this guy is like, we're listening to him, the guide, and he's like, this is one of the best cookie places in all of New York City. People come from miles around and like all of the boroughs. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm literally sitting here listening to this tour guide and seeing my apartment where I'm going to be staying. Am I going to abstain from Chip City and all of like, yeah, that's a no. That's a no.
That's a giant no.
Yeah.
I'm going to New Orleans. Am I going to have beignets even though I'm not supposed to have sugar or gluten? Yeah, it's probably happening.
Yes, YOLO. YOLO. Well, okay, next episode though is going to be so exciting because we will have a New Orleans recap, a New York City recap.
Yes.
We will talk about beignets and chocolate chip cookies. Listeners, you won't want to miss it.
Oh my God.
All right, well, thanks everybody for listening. We will see you next week.